this live right here is gonna be about. I'm gonna talk about, do we have any boxing stars? Because I hear a lot of people, throw out names that we have boxing stars, actual boxing stars. And to me, we really don't have any boxing stars because these guys are not fighting each other for us to establish, a guy that can be a star. In the heavyweight division, we got Joshua and Wilder still haven't fought. In the welterweight division, we got Keith Thurman, Earl Spence, and Terrence Crawford. Those guys haven't mixed it up. So in in the middleweight division, we got the Charlo brother, we got Golovkin, we got Canelo and Golovkin. They're fighting, and to me, the first fight was such a debacle that Golovkin should have won that fight, and this fight that Golovkin should be fighting one of the fighting that Charlo brother, and establishing, to see if we can have a star from the middleweight division. But historically, the stars have come from either heavyweight or welterweight. That's the most um, that we can see that we can have stars develop. They usually develop from the welterweight division or the heavyweight division, sometimes middleweight division. Bernard Hopkins. I consider Bernard Hopkins was a star. We know, guys like um, James Toney when he was at middleweight. Roy Jones when he was at middleweight for a little while. He was a star at middleweight, but Roy Jones kept hopping up weight divisions. He didn't stay at middleweight that long. So, and then, stars are developed from welterweights coming up fighting middleweights. That's how middleweights become stars. When welterweights come up and fight them and then establish them as being a star. That's how Hearns and Leonard, when they moved up, and when Hearns and Leonard moved up, you know, to face Hagler, and Hagler was able to beat he was able to beat Hearns, knock out Hearns in a great fight, and Hagler became a star because he fought the guy that was previously a star at welterweight, and that's how middleweights become stars. Welterweights is just historically, welterweights become stars. And of the last, 25, 30 years, welterweights have really carried the cash cow label. You know, Sugar Ray Leonard, Oscar De La Hoya, Floyd Mayweather, they all carried that welterweight torch as being the cash cow. And in the heavyweight division, we have not had a quote unquote heavyweight star since when? Holyfield. If you're going to say American, if you're going to say overall, what, Lennox Lewis? And to me, Lennox Lewis was a borderline star. I'm not trying to take anything away from Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis was a great fighter. Lennox Lewis, has a tremendous resume. But Lennox Lewis, I guess because he was from the UK, he was not really a star. You know what I'm saying? He caught Tyson at the end. He did fight Holyfield. He fought other guys. I think the fight that would have made Lennox Lewis a star, if he could have got that Bow fight, if he could have got that Riddick Bow fight, he would have been a star. But nowadays, people say Canelo is a star. I don't see Canelo as being a star, man. I see, Oscar De La Hoya trying to um, make Canelo a star, but I don't see Canelo as being a star. I think Canelo had his chance when he fought Mayweather. Now, if Canelo could have beat Mayweather, he could have been that star that De La Hoya want Canelo to be. And then all of the drug allegation and the steroids from the Golovkin, fight and all that has diminished Canelo greatly. And then now people saying Earl Spence is a star. I don't. Earl Spence is not a star. As good of a performance as he been putting on, he's still not a star because in order to be a star, you need that adversary, that person that everybody else look at as being uh, a, on the cusp of being a star, and he's also a great fighter himself. You need that guy. You need that guy to fight another great fighter, and then the winner of that fight becomes the star. You're not gonna be. You're not gonna. you're just not gonna be a star unless you have that adversary. You know, Oscar had it with Tito Trinidad. I remember when Oscar and Tito was coming up, they both was fighting. You know, Oscar was on the WBC side when he finally got to welterweight, and Phoenix Trinidad was on the IBF side, and they both was coming up and tearing through. Trinidad was tearing through the IBF side, and De La Hoya was tearing up to the WBC side, and they came up, and then they had that clash, and they fought. You know, kind of a controversial fight. I thought De La Hoya won the fight. Nevertheless, I don't want to get into all that, but I thought De La Hoya won the fight. But that's how. Well, De La Hoya, and then the Olympics too. I think because of America not having the Olympic pedigree that we had back in the past, it's harder to develop stars because a lot of those stars that was developed back when America was dominating the Olympics, those guys were made TV stars through the TV networks due to them winning the gold medal. And our last gold medalist was what? Our last American gold medalist was Andre Ward. Just Corey Stevenson won silver, and Deontay Wilder has won the bronze. So we haven't had a gold medalist since Andre Ward. That was what Andre Ward. What he won a gold medal in what 2003? I mean 4. I think 2004 or 2000, somewhere up in there, 2004. So, and then Shakur Stevenson won what a couple years ago, a year ago, or whatever that was. But I think because of the American, Olympic system, we have not been able to, cultivate those stars. But see, if Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford fight, the winner of that fight can become a star. Like right now, Terrence Crawford is not a star. Earl Spence is not a star. Keith Thurman is not a star. Danny Garcia is not a star. Now, Keith Thurman could have been on that trend because Keith Thurman did beat Danny Garcia and he beat Sean Porter. And Keith Thurman was the unified champion. He was the unified welterweight champion. Then suffered injuries and then delayed his run because after he fought Danny Garcia, he should have went and fought Earl Spence. If he could have won that fight, you got Terrence Crawford coming up fighting Jeff Horn, and then that clash could have happened. Then we could have got a star. I believe we could have got a star out of the welterweight division if that would have happened. We could have got a star, and then people could have been recognizing somebody as being the quote unquote, next torch to that cash cow. But another thing too, I don't think pay per view is going to do like it did. I think Floyd Mayweather was the last. Him, Pacquiao, and some, on a little bit of a lower scale, Canelo and Cotto. Those are the last pay per view type guys that are going to sell real good on pay per view. Now, in order for another successful pay per view, I think another successful pay per view probably would be Terrence Crawford versus Earl Spence. I think or Earl Spence versus Canelo, because you got the whole Mexican and you have the whole African American thing. And historically, if you look back, African Americans and Mexicans do very well when they fight each other on pay per view. They do very well. They do good numbers TV wise and pay per view wise. When they fight each other. You know what I'm saying? Going back to Pernell Whitaker and Chavez. You know what I'm saying? Mayweather and Canelo, Mayweather and De La Hoya and Sugar Shane Mosley. So it goes back. Those two parents always do very well. But like I said, these guys need to fight each other so they can become stars. Like you can't just make a star out of, cake batter. You just can't do it, man. You have to actually, like I said, you have to have an adversary. You have to have somebody that the public deems that can beat you, danger to you. Like I said, Mayweather and Pacquiao, the reason why that thing worked, now it took a long time for the fight to happen. Longer than you will want any fight anticipated like that to happen. What took what 6 years? But Pacquiao was the mystique around Pacquiao was him coming up from the lower weight classes, coming up, destroying guys. Yes, he did lose some fights in between there. He lost against Marquez, lost against Bradley. He got knocked out by Marquez. He lost against Bradley. He lost against Morales. The first time him and Morales fought. He came back and revenged that loss against Morales, beat Morales twice, or stopped him twice. He was able to revenge his losses versus Bradley, beat him twice. Him and Marquez just was made for each other. Him and Marquez was going to always have a tough fight between those guys. It's just what it was. But like I said, I need to see these guys actually fight. Until these guys fight, no, there would not be a star. Now you can say guys have great performances. You know what I'm saying? Earl Spence have great performances. Terrence Crawford has great performances. Keith Thurman, when he was fighting, he has great performances. Deontay Wilder is a thing. It's amazing to me how Deontay Wilder can have the knockout power and the knockout punch and the charisma that Deontay Wilder have, but yet he's not a big star. Like I believe that somewhere up in there they dropped the ball on Deontay Wilder because Deontay Wilder should have been a star, man. Deontay Wilder should have been the way the guy knocks guys out. I mean, you want a heavyweight to go in there and knock guys out, and that's what Deontay Wilder does. Why is he not a bigger star? Even without Joshua, Deontay Wilder should have been a bigger star. Even without fighting Joshua, Deontay Wilder should have been the heir to the throne of Floyd Mayweather. He should have been the heir to the throne. It has to me. It has something to do with being able to relay Deontay Wilder to the American public. Like Deontay Wilder should have commercials. He should have things sold in stores. And I see Joshua poster in. I seen a Joshua poster a couple years ago in Walmart. I ain't seen no Deontay Wilder poster. Big old Joshua poster. What a Deontay Wilder shit at, man. And this is America. Deontay Wilder knocking out everybody. He knocked out everybody he faced. Yet he's a blimp. He's a kind of like a blimp on the screen. It's guys at welterweight that get more publicity or just as much publicity as Deontay Wilder. I don't get it, man. Deontay Wilder is the first American heavyweight in a while who we can say is a dominant heavyweight. Who you can say he can beat every heavyweight out there. We haven't had that in a long time. Now we finally got it, and this man is not a star. I don't know what Lou DiBella and, you know what I'm saying, Al Heyman is doing, but they not promoting that guy right. First of all, like I said, and I'm going to say countless of times, how in the world can Charles Martin, who's in the same stable as Deontay Wilder, how can they not let him fight Deontay Wilder before Deontay Wilder fight Joshua? That's how Joshua became. See, I think Eddie Hearn them just they look to the left, they look to the right, and I don't believe I don't believe Al Heyman and Lou DiBella Lou DiBella and even Wilder. I don't even think they seen anybody from the left or the right of the heavyweight division coming up and doing anything. Joshua, although Joshua came out and he was Olympic gold medalist, Joshua was still young and he still was climbing up the ranks. But what was happening was Joshua was strategically being placed in the right position at the right time. See, when Joshua fought, I believe when Joshua fought Charles Martin, Joshua had what, 20 victories or something like that, some low number. And then he was able to get that Charles Martin fight because Eddie Hearn offered Charles Martin like $5-6 million, which Al Heyman should have turned around and offered Charles Martin $1 million or $2 million more to fight Wilder. And then Joshua, by him winning that fight and knocking Charles Martin out, he's on the scene. He's on the scene because it don't take long for heavyweights, man. You get the right fights at the right time. It don't matter how many fights you have. A heavyweight can get on the scene quick. And all that work that Wilder was able to do, coming up. I believe when Joshua beat Charles Martin, Wilder had already had 30 victories. I believe Wilder had already had 30 victories by then. So he was able to steal or get half of the limelight from Wilder in one fight. You know what I'm saying? And then he was able to fight Klitschko. That's another thing. Joshua was able to fight Klitschko. And then when Joshua was able to see, I know Klitschko had already lost previously. He had already lost to Fury. But that was more of a tactical loss that he lost to Fury. Fury didn't really hurt him. Klitschko was never wobbled. He was just out technical in that fight. Fury beat him on feints and jabs and movement. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of people looked at it like Klitschko lost, but he really didn't lose. You know what I'm saying? And then when Joshua was able to go up in there and Joshua got knocked down, and then Joshua got up and was able, well, after Joshua knocked Klitschko down, Klitschko came back and knocked Joshua down. Joshua was badly hurt, and I thought the fight was about to be over. Joshua showed a lot of heart in that fight to get up and continue that fight because he was not only hurt, he was dog tired. But when he was able to knock out Klitschko, he knocked out Klitschko. That was the first time Klitschko had been knocked out in 10 years, almost 10 years. Because, yes, we all know Klitschko had suffered a couple of knockouts before then, but Emmanuel Stewart came in and was able to give Klitschko a game plan and structurally had Klitschko fighting tall behind his jab, so Klitschko was able to hide his chin for about 9 years. And then Joshua was the one that came in there and knocked him out. And that was for the vacant WBC title, the WB not WBC WBA title. So he was able to he was not only able to knock out a long reigning champion, a guy that my fault, not long reigning champion because Fury had dropped the belts, but Fury had already beat Klitschko, but he was able to knock out Klitschko for the first time in 9 years. So that to me catapulted Joshua even with Wilder. And then Joshua was able to beat Parker for the WBO title. I know Wilder had beat Ortiz, but as soon as Joshua beat Parker for the WBO title, to me, Joshua pulled ahead. And to me, Joshua was not supposed to pull ahead of Wilder that quick. And I don't think Wilder and them seen it coming. And I think they were caught off guard. Wilder is not a star. I'm sorry to say it, but Wilder is not a star. You know what a star is? A star is somebody that when you walk down the street, people recognize. Now, do you think Wilder can walk down the street in most cities, even in the United States, and people know who Wilder is? I don't think so. I think Mayweather could have walked down a not do I think, I know for sure Mayweather could have walked around in any state in United States, in any state, and he would have been recognized. No, even in big cities, I don't think Wilder can walk down the street and people will recognize who Wilder is. I think certain cities, I think you're right about certain cities, but Mayweather could have walked in any city in America and people will know that's Floyd Mayweather. You know what I mean? When Sugar Ray Leonard was hot, Sugar Ray Leonard could have walked down and treated any city and people would know that's Sugar Ray Leonard. See, that's the difference. Even Oscar could have walked down when he was the man. He could have walked to any city. Wilder, it's something about them promoting that man is not right, man. Because when you see another heavyweight champion that has some other part of the belt, have part of the belt, a piece of the heavyweight championship, and his poster is in a store as popular as Walmart, and you don't have a poster in there, man, it's something wrong, man. I'm going for Wilder to beat Joshua. I think it's a 50-50 fight, but I think Wilder will beat Joshua. But this had nothing to do with who can win the fight. This has something to do with who's a star. Now, Joshua is a star in the UK. I think we all can agree with that. Joshua is a star in the UK. Wilder is not a star here. Wilder, he has to beat Joshua. And I think even if Wilder beat Joshua, is it too late for Wilder to be a star in the United States? I think Earl Spence Crawford. I think Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford have a better chance of being a star in the United States before Wilder. I really do. I really think Wilder window closed as far as being a star. Now that I'm not that has nothing to do with him being a great fighter. He could still be a great fighter. But not all great fighters are stars. Y'all have to realize that. All great fighters are not stars. That because you're a great fighter, that doesn't make you a star. That doesn't mean you're gonna become a star. And I think Wilder, I think the window closed on Wilder. How does Wilder now? What, 32? Wilder about 32, 33? Wilder is up there now. Wilder is not a young man anymore. Joshua's still in his 20s. I believe Joshua is 28, 27, 28. But let me read some of these comments. Ain't no stars in boxing unless guys talking smack and fighting any and everybody. Yeah, because more. See, I don't understand what this. I'm not going to totally blame it on this era, but something about this era that people are more happy about. They seem like they're more happy about guys talking about fighting than actually fighting. Like people going back and forth on Twitter, people going back and forth on whatever platform they going back and forth on. It's cool to go back and forth as long as it's gonna end up in the fight. I don't want to hear like Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence. I don't want to hear nothing about them going back and forth on Twitter until they, if they got a fight signed. If Terrence Crawford and I got Terrence Crawford winning the fight, but if Terrence Crawford and Earl Spence got the fight signed, they can do all. To me, they can do all the talking they want to do, and I'll look at it and I'll be happy about it. I'll be excited about it. But until they get a fight signed, I don't want to hear nothing they got to say about Twitter. I don't hear about nothing they got to say about Twitter no more because the guys are not fighting. Earl Spence can be a star only if Thurman, Garcia, Crawford, and Porter fight him. He has no clean. He has to clean out the division in order to be a star. Yeah, you're right. He does. If any one of those welterweights fight a combination of any one of those fights and win any one of those fights, win three of those fights, they can be a star. If Thurman come back and look, Thurman already beat Garcia and Porter. If Thurman come back and beat Crawford, and if he beat Earl Spence, Thurman can be a star. Crawford has to beat Thurman, a combination of Thurman and Earl Spence. Earl Spence has to beat a combination of Thurman and Crawford. And I believe Earl Spence can become a star off of those wins. But let me read another one. Wilder gets no publicity because he cannot express himself in the right fashion. No, I think no. I don't think I disagree that he can't explain himself in the right. Like, what fashion are you talking about? Because he explains himself to the people that, you know what I'm saying, to the people that understands where he's coming from. Like, no, Wilder is not the best speaker, but he gets his point across. I understand everything that Wilder is saying. I believe most people understand what Wilder is saying. I disagree with that, but I mean that's your opinion. Yeah, only 16 fights to build him into champion takes good promotion. Yeah, it takes good promotion. It takes your promoter to put you in the right situation. And Joshua, everybody's mad at Eddie Hearn, but Eddie Hearn put Joshua in the right situations at the right time. I don't understand why y'all mad at Eddie. It has nothing to do with Eddie Hearn. Don't be mad at Eddie Hearn because if Joshua wants the Wilder fight, guess what Joshua can say? Eddie Hearn, give me that fight. Get me that fight. Get me that fight for my next fight. I don't want nobody else but Wilder. So don't blame it on the promoter. One thing about Eddie Hearn has a stake in Joshua. You know what I'm saying? Before Joshua started making serious money, guess who was putting all the money up? Eddie Hearn. Now Eddie Hearn wants a return on his money and some. So when Eddie Hearn tells you that Wilder is dangerous, yes, you know why Wilder is dangerous? Because he's a danger to Eddie Hearn's pockets. If Wilder go in there and knock out Joshua, you know what I'm saying? Knock Joshua out, that's gonna hurt Eddie Hearn's pocket. So Eddie Hearn, I'm not saying that Eddie Hearn don't believe that Joshua cannot win the fight, but Eddie Hearn understands that Wilder is to a serious danger to Joshua. Just as Joshua is a serious danger to Wilder. I don't care about people walking around blustering saying that Wilder gonna go in there and just blow Joshua out in 2 or 3 rounds. That's not gonna happen, y'all. I'm sorry. He's not gonna go in there and blow that man out in 2 or 3 rounds. It's just not gonna happen. That's gonna be a 50-50 fight. Anybody can win that fight at any point of the fight. Yes, I think Wilder hits a little harder, but that's just like saying I'm gonna hit you with a 22 and you're gonna hit me with a gauge. They both can kill you. Like they both can get you. What's up, man? What's up, MLN boxing? What's up? Let me read some more of these comments. Yeah, hold on. Wilder is a star. Wild to me, Wild already explained that Wilder's not a star. Yeah, in the big cities, already read that. I don't think Trump resigns Wilder during the meeting. Recognize. Yeah, he did recognize Wilder. If you look at the whole interview, he recognized Wilder. He talked about Wilder being a champion and all that, being a WBC champion. But yeah, Wilder should be a bigger star here. I agree with that. He should be a bigger star here. Man, don't y'all know? I know back then. I know you can't really judge back then because when Tyson, before Tyson even won the belt, Tyson was a big star, and Tyson did not win gold as a heavyweight. I think Tyson got eliminated. I don't think Tyson. I think a Tyson got eliminated in the national championships or something like that. So, and Tyson was a star before he won the belt. Tyson had he had all types of endorsements with Pepsi and everybody else. Well, Wilder has wrong character for marketing purposes. He always says the wrong. I don't no, I don't believe Wilder always says the wrong thing. I mean, I don't know if you can translate. I mean, I don't know if Wilder is not talking clearly enough for you, but to me, Wilder don't always say the wrong thing. Wilder, he to me, Wilder says um, things that see one thing about Wilder, he doesn't hold or bite his tongue on anything. He's gonna say what's on his mind, and like sometimes people don't like to take you know what I'm saying what people like to say was on their mind. Sometimes people like people to be politically correct, but I don't like politically correct. I like people to talk about what's on their mind, so I know exactly where you're coming from. Well, Wilder has a very hold on. Do you remember every everyone talking about Wilder KO versus Severn too? No, I don't. No, because to me that fight, I mean, that fight happened like 3 years too late. Him and Severn should have fought 3 years ago. By the time they fought the second time, it was like a joke. I already knew he's gonna knock Severn out. Severn isn't a big name. So what that KO was on ESPN, a lot of people were talking about at my job, Tulsa. It's not a name, nothing more to add. It's not a name, nothing more to add. Yeah, so who do y'all believe is a star in boxing right now today? I know some people that are on the cusp of being a potential star, but we don't have no stars in boxing, man. We just don't have any. I just talked about how we can possibly have a star in boxing, but we don't have any stars in boxing. These guys have to fight each other. They have to know that just talking on social media about fighting a guy is not going to be enough to make you a star. It's just not going to be enough to make you a star. You have to actually go in the ring and perform. You have to perform. If you want to be a star, Earl Spence, I know. Look, I know Danny Garcia called you out. I mean, not Danny Garcia. I know Danny. I know. My fault. I know. Um, Garcia called you out, but, but you should say, you know what? Yeah, I'll fight you, but I have to fight Terrence Crawford. I got a bigger fish to fry in Terrence Crawford, and you should be fighting Terrence Crawford. Like you should look at Al Heyman and say, make the fight with Terrence Crawford. It shouldn't be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. It should be Terrence Crawford. Now I understand you being called out by a guy that's coming up a weight class, two weight classes, or whatever. But Mikey Garcia should not be on your radar. It should be Terrence Crawford should be on your radar. You and Terrence Crawford don't have an opponent. You don't have an opponent. Terrence Crawford should be telling Bob Arum, I want Earl Spence right now. Earl Spence should be saying Al Heyman or Luda Bella or whoever running the situation. But I know Earl Spence say he don't have a promoter. So if you don't have a promoter, guess what? You can say Luda Bella. I know you the promoter for PBC. I want the Terrence Crawford fight now. Mikey Garcia can wait after that fight. I could fight what Mikey Garcia as a warm up fight to Garcia to the winner of Garcia and Porter. But see, they not doing that. And everybody was mad at Keith Thurman when Keith Thurman wasn't fighting Earl Spence fast enough. I remember when people was mad. Come on, Thurman, why you not fighting Spence? You're ducking. Yeah. Now it's Earl Spence ducking Crawford. What are y'all opinion? Who think Earl Spence is ducking Crawford? Because he said, Crawford, you on the wrong side of the street. How is Crawford on the wrong side of the street when you can go to Crawford's side of the street? Because remember, you don't have a promoter. Earl Spence don't have a promoter. Terence Crawford has a promoter in Bob Arum in Top Rank, but Earl Spence doesn't. Earl Spence, you can go over there and sign a one fight deal and fight Crawford. So are you ducking Terence Crawford? And now I hear a lot of people making excuses saying, well, the fight is not going to happen right now until it's worth a lot of money. I remember Keith Thurman saying, I want $10 million to fight Earl Spence. So what was Keith Thurman saying in so many words? I'm not going to fight Earl Spence until it's worth a lot of money. And now I hear people saying the Terence Crawford versus Earl Spence fight is not going to happen until it's worth a lot of money. Oh my God. What does that tell me? That tells me that people that are behind Spence understands that Terence Crawford is a big threat to Earl Spence. But I remember before Terence Crawford came to 140, when Terence Crawford was at 135, I told people back then, and I think I made a video. You may can go in my archives, you may find it, or I think I may have said it to the other people I used to talk to on the line. I think I said that to them, but I remember saying it back then that I believe Terence Crawford can go to 147 and beat guys at 147, and everybody told me Terence Crawford's going to be too small when he gets there. And I told them, I said, no, Terence Crawford has the same dimensions as Floyd Mayweather. Arm length and height as Floyd Mayweather. He's talented defensively and offensively. I'm not saying he's as talented as Floyd Mayweather in both of those instances, but he's very close. And he can handle himself at 147. They told me he was too small. Now, he beat and destroyed Jeff Horn, which I already told people he's going to do. Now everybody's saying, now a lot of those people that was saying that he couldn't beat Earl Spence, a lot of them people saying, man, he can beat Earl Spence. You see how it turns? But yeah, of course, look, when you're looking at two really, really good fighters, you have to parse everything. Now things come down to the littlest things on who can win the fight. Terence Crawford has a lot of ways he can win that Earl Spence matchup. Earl Spence has one way, and that's coming forward. Now, Earl Spence is great at what he does, coming forward, breaking guys down. Great. Guess who else was great at coming forward, breaking guys down to the body? I'm going to take y'all back. Julio Cesar Chavez was great at coming forward, breaking guys down, and he was running through everybody, breaking them down. Guess what happened when Julio Cesar Chavez fought Pernell Whitaker? You know what happened? Pernell Whitaker not only went forward sometimes in the fight, but he fought off his back foot brilliantly. Guess who else can fight off their back foot and fight going forward? And can also switch? Terence Crawford. Terence Crawford can fight off his back foot very well. That is the antidote to beat an Earl Spence. You have to be able to fight off your... Now, you have to be able to stand your ground. Terence Crawford can stand his ground. We all know Terence Crawford is a dog. Both of them dogs. We all know Terence Crawford is a dog, so Terence Crawford can stand his ground. But Terence Crawford can also fight off his back foot and change up the rhythm of the fight. Earl Spence will never change up the rhythm of the fight. He has to come forward to be successful. If you go back in that Kell Brook versus Earl Spence fight, listen to the trainer in the corner. Listen to Derrick James in the corner of Earl Spence. Keep coming forward. He kept telling Earl Spence, keep going forward. Don't go backwards. Because he understands that Earl Spence strength is going forward. Don't y'all know Terrence Crawford and his trainer understands that Earl Spence strength is going forward? Terrence Crawford gonna win the fight, but nevertheless, I don't want to get into that. But let me read some more of these comments. Alvarez, Pacquiao, Joshua among active fighters, stars. To me, Alvarez is not a star. Alvarez had a chance to be a star if he'd have beat Mayweather. Pacquiao is no longer a star. Joshua is very, very close. Well, Joshua is a star in his own country. Joshua is not that well known here, but Joshua is a star in his own country. Wilder's not even a star here. I'm sorry to say it, but Wilder's not a star here, man. He's not a, he's just not a star here. Pacquiao not a star. Canelo and GGG come on, bro. No, GGG is not a star. They can't sell pay-per-views anybody. Fury lost to David Price in the Olympics. Okay, Fury lost. That's the Olympics. They not in the Olympics no more. They pros now. I mean, Price was sent to Olympics instead of Tyson. Okay, that's the truth. Spence is with Showtime and Bud is ESPN contracted no matter, bro. Spence versus Mikey is 100% having for Showtime. Yeah, I know. Spence versus Mikey is about to happen. I know that because Mikey wants to fight. Now, some people. Now, I'm gonna talk about that Spence Mikey fight. I remember when Mikey Garcia called out Thurman, and everybody was like, "Man, Thurman is being so disrespected. He getting called out by a guy 2 weight classes below." Y'all remember that? Now that Mikey Garcia is calling out Earl Spence, people saying, "Oh, he just trying to cash out. Oh, why he calling out Spence? He about to get murdered and all this stuff." Mikey Garcia sees the same thing in Earl Spence as any fighter that knows anything about boxing. Now, Mikey Garcia, y'all got to know, Mikey Garcia been around boxing all his life. Y'all know his brother used to fight. You know, his brother, his brother was undefeated, but he had lost to Diego Corrales. Y'all got to go back and see that. But, okay, yeah, Spence in 6, okay, but Mikey Garcia the thing about Earl Spence is, I don't know if y'all guys ever sparred or ever boxed before, but when you fight a guy like a Terrence Crawford that can box going forward and can fight coming forward and can switch, those guys are guys that you're not even looking forward to fighting because those guys can have you all mixed up. When you fighting a guy that comes forward, yes, you don't want to, you're not eager to fight nobody coming forward with the kind of style that Earl Spence got and tearing to your body, but they're much easier to fight because you know where they're coming from. You know if you can handle yourself. Now, like I said, you got to be able to handle yourself in the ring. You can't be a guy that there's a novice to the ring or can't really handle itself or really can't handle pressure. But if you can handle pressure and if you can keep your thoughts and your thinking and your game plan, you can pick that guy apart. You can pick him off. Now, what the thing about Mikey Garcia, like I said, I have a question about Mikey Garcia is, can he handle a punch from a full-fledged welterweight? Now, if Mikey Garcia gets in the ring and he can nullify Spence and keep Spence in the center of the ring and stay off the ropes against Earl Spence, Mikey Garcia can make the fight interesting. Like all the pressure is on Earl Spence. Earl Spence has to go in there and blow through Mikey. If Earl Spence go in there and struggles with Mikey Garcia and this fight goes to the scorecards, Earl Spence stock goes down. Earl Spence has to go in there and knock out Mikey Garcia. Anything less than a knockout, Earl Spence, his stock will go down. Because the first thing people are going to say is, how can you struggle against a guy that came up 2 weight classes? But I understand how you can struggle against a guy come up 2 weight classes because Mikey Garcia is technically sound, very technically sound. You have to understand. I know it's just sparring, but you have to understand that Mikey Garcia has been in the ring sparred. He has sparred with guys probably bigger than Earl Spence, and he has sparred with guys just as big as Earl Spence. Mikey Garcia has seen every style. He has been in the ring sparring or fighting with versus every style. Mikey Garcia is coming into this matchup with the more experience as a professional. Mikey Garcia is more experienced than Earl Spence. Mikey Garcia got more knockouts than Earl Spence. I know he knocked out guys, smaller guys in lower weight classes, but I'm just saying he got more fights than Earl Spence. Mikey Garcia can handle himself in the ring. Trust me on that. The onus is on Earl Spence to knock this man out. If Mikey Garcia goes to the scorecards, I'm telling y'all, it's not going to be a good look for Earl Spence. Let me read some of these comments. Yeah, but you just asked before if Fury was sent to the Olympics. He was. No, 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 no. I didn't ask if Fury was sent to the Olympics. I didn't ask if he was sent to the Olympics. I don't remember asking you that. I have to go back through the thing, but I don't remember asking you if Fury. I didn't know anything about Fury going to the Olympics or not going to the Olympics. I don't know nothing about Holly about the UK fighters. Only person I know won gold from the UK was Joshua. Spence Spence was GGG power. No one lasts with Spence. Spence does not have Golovkin's power, y'all. Stop it. Y'all got to stop it. Spence is a cumulative puncher that breaks you down to the body. Like, really. Spence breaks you. Now, I'm not going to lie. He breaks you down to the body. Spence is not as powerful as GGG. And I know I heard people say Spence can go in there and beat Golovkin at 160. No, he can't. He will get stopped. His style versus Golovkin is perfect for Golovkin. Because Spence has to come forward to be successful. What the hell you think Golovkin gonna be? Right there. Spence will get stopped by Triple G at 160. I know people are hound Spence, but he gonna get Spence is not Spence doesn't change that he doesn't change gears enough to beat Triple G at 160. He will have to be able to do other things other than what he does to beat Triple G at 160. Little known rumor, Spence whooped your boy Floyd. Okay. Now, like I said, Spence was and had success versus Floyd in sparring. The story I heard was this. This is when Mayweather was coming off a layoff. He wasn't in the gym. He called. He wanted to set up some sparring. He called Spence people. He told them that he wanted to spar Spence. He ended up talking to Spence. So Spence came down from Texas to come down there and spar with Mayweather. And the rumor I heard was Spence was giving it to Mayweather the first 2 times they sparred. As the training camp went on, Mayweather started giving it back to Spence. Now, that's what I heard. I heard that, yes, Spence was having success, gave Mayweather that little black eye up under his eye. The first couple sparring matches that Mayweather wanted to throw him at the gym. But they also said that was not talked about that as the sparring matches went on, Floyd Mayweather started giving it to Spence. Now, that's what I heard. And I heard that from a guy that said he was... I heard that from an interview, on one of these interviews on here, from a guy that said he was there in sparring, and he witnessed it. That a lot of people only talking about what Spence did to Mayweather. They're not talking about that Mayweather in the last couple times they sparred, when Mayweather started getting more better in shape, that Mayweather started giving it to Spence. I rarely watch overgrown chicken fighter, to be honest. Heavyweights is more my thing. Ask Brooke if Spence, he just a body. No, yeah. I know, I understand he broke the other orbital bone of Carol Brooke. But what I'm saying in that fight was in the six rounds that before he broke Carol Brooks' orbital bone. I think he broke his orbital bone in round 8, round 7 or round 8, something like that. Carol Brooke was winning the fight. When Carol Brooke was keeping the fight in the center of the ring, I didn't see Carol Brooke having a whole lot of problems. I'm gonna be honest with you. Yeah, Earl Spence stopped him and was able to stop him, was able to break him down. That was a great win by Earl Spence. But like I told people, if you keep the fight in the center of the ring, you're going a really good fighter is going to beat Earl Spence. It's just what it's going to be. Terrence Crawford is going to beat Earl Spence, y'all. Y'all just get ready. And I don't want to hear no excuses when Terrence Crawford go in here and undress Earl Spence. He's going to undress him. And a lot of people gonna be. I know a lot of people gonna say, "Well, Terrence Crawford ran and all this stuff." No, it's not. To me, when you run, you're not throwing punches. That's running. When you're not throwing punches, you're just moving back just to be moving back. If you're throwing punches, landing combinations, and you moving back off your back foot, that's boxing to me. Because you're not just trying to just get away from the man just to get away from the man. You actually using your offense to help you on your back foot. And that to me, that's what a boxer does. A guy that boxes, a guy that call himself a boxer and moves back and don't throw punches. That's not a box. You're not boxing. You're running. But I already know what people gonna say when he go in there. I believe Terrence Crawford is gonna stop Earl Spence. That's what I believe. I believe he's gonna start off on his back foot. The first 4 rounds are gonna be very competitive. First 4 or 5 rounds gonna be very competitive. By the second half of the fight, Terrence Crawford gonna take over. Because one thing about Terrence Crawford, he's an adaptive, reactive fighter. He's just like a Mayweather, just like a Sugar Ray Leonard, where they just figure you out. By the 4th round, Terrence Crawford is gonna have Earl Spence punch output figured out, what punches he like to throw. He's gonna have his rhythm figured out, and then y'all gonna see 6, 7, 8, 9. Y'all gonna see the difference in class. But until they get in the ring, we'll never know. Yeah, why you got Garcia or oh, I got Mikey Garcia. I mean not Mikey Garcia. I got Danny Garcia winning that fight. I got Danny Garcia winning the Porter fight. Porter is a hard work type fighter. Now, it's a 50-50 fight because Garcia will have to handle that pressure of Porter. Now Porter does put pressure on you, but a lot of times Porter put a lot of wild pressure on you to where he smothered his punches. Now Porter does have, I mean not Porter, Garcia does have problems with guys that come forward. You know what I'm saying? So the Lamont Peterson fight, the end of the Zab Judah fight, Garcia looked uncomfortable with guys going forward with pressure. But those guys went forward. They were throwing clean punches and hitting Danny clean. Sean Porter smothers a lot of his work. Sean Porter can get there. Sean Porter can get anywhere you get to in the ring because he has really good footwork. But a lot of times when Sean Porter gets there, he smothers his work. And that's what I believe he's going to do against Danny Garcia. He's going to get there. He's going to bag Danny up, but he's going to smother a lot of his work. And it doesn't look good to the judges when you smother your work. If Porter can get better range and be able to hit Danny clean, yes, he will beat Danny. But from what I see from Porter, he smothered a lot of his work. And I think Danny's going to time him a lot of times with that hook. 50-50 versus Bud. I can see Bud boxing and putting a beating on somebody. Oh yeah. Spence, to me, Spence is a really good fighter. To me, Spence has some really good qualities you need in a fighter. And I seen it when he fought Brook. He's very determined. He doesn't quit. He doesn't give up. Although I did see a look of distress and worry on his face when he was fighting Brook. I don't think he thought Brook was as good as Brook was before he got in the ring. Or I don't think he thought Brook was as strong as he was because Brook kept warning him that he was a very strong welterweight. And I kept saying that Brook was a very strong welterweight. But he was one thing about Spence. Now, he didn't make any adjustments in that fight. And people trying to convince me that he made adjustments in the Brooks fight. No, he didn't. What he did was he fought harder, longer. That's what he did. He fought harder and longer and with a lot of heart. Now, you can win a lot of fights with those qualities that Spence has, and Spence goes to the body. You can win a lot of fights doing that. But when you fight a special fighter like a Crawford, you have to do more than just be determined, come forward, and have a lot of heart. It's going to take more than that to beat a Terrence Crawford. You actually have to be able to adjust on the fly and maybe adjust round by round, especially in the second half of the fight. Because I'm going to tell y'all this. By the second half of the fight, Terrence Crawford is going to show his class. He's going to show why he's a better fighter than Terrence Crawford. But that's usually what happens in a boxing match. Like if a guy don't get knocked out or rocked or knocked out in the first couple rounds, yes. But usually when the fight goes on, the second half of the fight, the cream rises to the top. Terrence Crawford is the cream. Errol Spencer's a really good fighter in what he does, but Terrence Crawford is the cream. Who else up in here? Who y'all got winning the fight? Danny Garcia or Sean Porter? I got Danny Garcia so far. But going back to do we have any stars? Like I said, man, these guys you got Danny. I got Danny too. Who you have? Canelo, GGG part two. I got GGG winning in a knockout this time. You got Porter. Okay, you got Porter. Why you got Porter? And who you have for the Triple G Canelo too, or if you care about that fight. I know a lot of people don't care about that fight. I care about the fight because I want the fight to come to fruition. I want an ending. I want a correct ending. Then I want Triple G. If Triple G win the fight or Canelo whoever wins this fight, I want them to fight the Charlo brother. I forget Jamel or Jamal, whichever one is at 160. I always get them mixed up. I want the winner of this fight to fight one of the Charlo brothers. I believe it's time for the Charlo to see if one of the Charlo brothers can break through. Bigger and stronger, just my opinion, and he will keep coming. Yeah, Porter does keep coming, but like I said a few minutes ago, Porter he smothers a lot of his work, man. He smothers a lot of his punches. And you know what? Danny is stronger than what most people think. Danny ain't never hit the canvas. I ain't never really seen Danny seriously hurt. I seen him hurt a couple times. I never seen him seriously hurt. A lot of people do not care about that fight, GG and Canelo. What gives you that impression? No, it's a lot of people that's going around. I've been seeing a lot of videos. They saying that they're not gonna watch the Canelo Triple G 2 because they turned off. They turned off from the first fight, and Canelo was caught on drugs and all that. Danny can crack. Yeah, Danny can crack. People disrespect Danny Garcia a lot. I mean, I understand Danny Garcia do leave himself open from his father remarks when his father said, why do all these really good fighters have to fight each other right now? And everybody should be fighting lower tier people. And from the Rod Saka fight, him struggling against that guy in Puerto Rico who he fought. I forgot that guy he fought in Puerto Rico. He struggled. But Danny Garcia, I want to know how many people in here picked Danny Garcia to beat Lucas Matisse. Because I was one of those people that picked Danny Garcia to beat Lucas Matisse. I wonder how many people in here picked Danny Garcia to beat Lucas Matisse. Because a lot of people said Lucas Matisse was going to stop Danny Garcia. And Danny Garcia went in there and beat Lucas Matisse. He knocked out Amir Khan. He beat Lamar Peterson. I know Lamar Peterson came on late, but he beat Lamar Peterson. It's going to be a good fight regardless. I picked yeah, you picked Lucas. Danny Garcia went in there and beat Lucas Matisse. The machine Matisse. So, I don't know. Danny Garcia gets a lot of disrespect, man, out here. But I like Danny. Danny Garcia lost to Lamont, in my opinion. I thought Lamont took too long to come on. I thought Lamont did. That's another thing about Lamont. When I look at that fight, Lamont Peterson didn't do enough in the first half of the fight. He was moving well. Now, if you want to say who was moving the best, Peterson was moving the best, but he wasn't. To me, he wasn't doing a whole lot. He didn't start doing a whole lot till like the last 3 rounds. The last 3 rounds, he did a lot. He won the last 3 rounds to me. I mean, he won another round before that. He won another. I believe it was 7-5. He won 2 more rounds before that, but he really started humping and started pushing Danny Garcia back the last 3 rounds. He should have started doing that a couple rounds earlier. Danny Garcia. Okay. Yep, I was on that hype. Right, Lamont should have turned it on earlier. Yeah, he should have turned it on earlier. I mean, I understand him not turning it on in the first 3 or 4 rounds because Danny Garcia still got a lot of power. You know what I'm saying? His power got a lot of energy. But round about 6, he should have started turning that stuff on. The game plan of him pushing him back should have been that game plan around about round 6. He should have started doing it. But I thought he did. I thought he started doing it too late. But Danny gets a lot of And look, Danny been in the ring with some people, man. He fought Keith Thurman. Now he finna be in there with Sean Porter. He I heard Earl Spence said that the winner of the Danny Garcia Sean Porter fight is promised to him. So then he will potentially fight Earl Spence. So he would potentially fight three of the welterweights, three of the top five welterweights. And if he fight three of the top five welterweights, he'll be the only person in the welterweight division that fought three of the top five of the welterweights. And people still will say that Danny's scared and this and that. Don't sleep on Danny, man, because Danny, he tends to perform in his biggest fights. He tends to perform in his big. And don't look at the Keith Thurman fight because Keith Thurman is a different fighter than Sean Porter and Earl Spence. Keith Thurman can fight off his back foot. Keith Thurman can come forward. Earl Spence, if Earl Spence try to fight off his back foot, it's not going to be good for Earl Spence. He's not that type of fighter to fight off his back foot. Danny definitely beat Lucas Matisse, though. Yeah, he beat Lucas Matisse. So Danny versus Porter, Danny versus Earl Spence is going to be a totally different fight. Rip the homie Rod Saka. Yeah, he knocked Rod Saka out. Now, that's the only fight I criticize him for, fighting Rod Saka. I think Danny will fight Earl Spence before Sean Porter will. I believe Sean Porter will fight Earl Spence. I believe. See, I don't know. I have a different take on people saying they scared of Earl Spence. What people got to realize is Earl Spence came up behind Danny Garcia, Sean Porter, and Keith Thurman, and even Adrian Broner. You know, Earl Spence started his career 3 years after them or 4 years after them. So they were looking at it like, we haven't even fought each other, and y'all want us to fight Earl Spence. They wanted to fight each other because they were already established. Earl Spence was not already established yet. Earl Spence didn't really get established until last year. That's when Earl Spence really got established, was last year. Last year is when Earl Spence got established, in my opinion. That's when he got established. That's when he got hot. I mean, he was hot 2 years ago as far as word of mouth, people on YouTube. But I'm talking about as far as winning certain fights. Now it's like last year. So Danny Garcia and Sean Porter have never fought before. So I don't understand why people are mad about Sean Porter and Danny Garcia fight. They had never fought before. You know what I'm saying? Keith Thurman, up until 2 years ago, had never fought Sean Porter or Danny Garcia. Now he fought those two guys. Now I expect after Keith Thurman come back and have a couple tune-ups, I expect him to be ready for Earl Spence, be ready for Terrence Crawford. I expect him to be ready then because it'll be time. Yeah, of course Earl Spence gonna want all these guys because he wants to get in the mix because he knows that, yeah, I started my career 3 or 4 years after these guys. He wants to get in the mix. But to say these guys are scared of Earl Spence, I don't think these guys are scared of Earl Spence. Now, they understand Earl Spence is a threat. They understand Earl Spence is a threat to them, but I don't think they're scared to actually get in the ring with these guys. These guys been fighting all their life, man. They're not scared to get in the ring with, with other fighters, man. It's just not they just not scared to get in the ring. I think Danny will fight Earl Spence. Oh, I read that one already. Who do y'all have, Joshua or Povetkin? I got Joshua, but like I said, Povetkin can cause a lot of trouble if Povetkin can able to fight on the inside. Then it become an interesting fight. If the referee allowed Povetkin to fight on the inside and don't let Joshua hold Povetkin on the inside, like Klitschko was able to hold Povetkin on the inside. Yeah, but that's why the public and media put Spence at the top because not everyone they could not. Yeah, Spence have had some really good performances. Yeah, he was able to stop Brook. He was able to stop Bundu. But but I know a lot of people talking bigging up Bundu now. But when Keith Thurman fought Bundu, everybody was like, "Who the heck is Bundu?" You see what I mean? You see how that works. I remember when Keith Thurman fought, but I didn't even know who Bundu was. I'm a Keith Thurman supporter. I didn't even know who Bundu was. I'm like, man, who is Bundu? Keith Thurman going there and beat Bundu, and then all of a sudden Earl Spence knock out Bundu. Now Bundu is somebody. Y'all, so who did Bundu beat after he lost to Keith Thurman to make him somebody? You know what I mean? But you know, it always worked like that, man. Everybody when their favorite fighter beats somebody, they make that fighter more than what the fighter should have been when another guy already beat him. But you know, it's cool though. Yeah, but yeah, he went 12 rounds. But yeah, you understand that. But that was the first time Bundu ever lost. Bundu was in the Olympics. Bundu had a lot of experience. Yes, he got beat by Earl Spence. Earl Spence was able to go in there and knock him out. Yeah, you right about that. It was a better performance than what Thurman put on because to me a knockout is the best performance you can have. But Keith Thurman went in there, knocked him down the first round, and then Keith Thurman proceeded to box after that. Now, should Keith Thurman have went in there and knocked him and finished him after that? Yeah, yeah. Even though I like Keith Thurman, I can criticize Keith Thurman. I can criticize any fighter. I have no problem. The only criticism of that fight I had of Keith Thurman was he didn't finish the man. But other than that, Keith Thurman fought his fight versus Bundu. Earl Spence fought his fight versus Bundu. Earl Spence was able to get rid of him. Earl Spence had a better victory. But that's not the question. The question is, you are giving Earl Spence a lot of credit for beating Bundu. For one, Bundu had already lost versus Keith Thurman. For two, who was Bundu before Keith Thurman fought him? Who did Bundu beat before Keith Thurman fought him? And who did Bundu beat of significance after Keith Thurman fought him? Nobody. So I understand Earl Spence knocked him out, but you giving Earl Spence a lot of credit for Bundu, and we didn't even know who Bundu was up until 2 years ago. 2, 3 years ago, whenever Keith Thurman fought him. Nobody knew who Bundu was until Keith Thurman fought him. Just be honest. I mean, at least you can be honest about that. Did you know who Bundu was before Keith Thurman fought him? Anybody in here who knew who Bundu was, Leonard Bundu was before Keith Thurman fought him? Let me know. Because I didn't know nothing about Leonard Bundu. I'm not gonna leave in front. And a lot of people, some people that I used to talk on the phone with, a couple people said they knew who Leonard Bundu was, but I don't think they sat around and looked at Leonard Bundu fights before they fought Keith Thurman. They probably heard of him. He beat no one, so that's why he should not got 12. Like I said, that was the only criticism I had about Thurman of not beating Leonard Bundu, not knocking out Leonard Bundu. Yeah, you're right. He probably shouldn't have went 12 rounds with Keith Thurman. But that doesn't mean Earl Spence gets crazy over the top praise for knocking out Bundu. If you already agree that he was a nobody, he shouldn't get praise. So the only reason why you giving him praise is because the Keith Thurman effect, because Keith Thurman was unable to knock him out. That's the only reason why you're giving him praise. You're not giving Leonard Bundu praise because he was because he was beating quality fighters. You only giving Leonard Bundu praise because Keith Thurman was unable to knock him out. I beat no either. I should not go 12 rounds versus Keith Thurman. No, you shouldn't go. You shouldn't go to. I don't know. I don't know about your boxing career. You a boxer? No, you shouldn't go 12 rounds versus Keith Thurman. But look, like I said, I agree. But if you're gonna say he was a nobody before Keith Thurman, you cannot put him on Earl Spence's resume as being a great win for Earl Spence. It was a great performance. See, a great performance and a great win is two different things. If Earl Spence go with a win in there, like when Earl Spence stopped Kell Brook, that was not only a great performance, that was a great win because Kell Brook was established. Kell Brook had already beat Sean Porter. Kell Brook had already had a pretty good career up until that point. So you could say you could put Kell Brook on there as a great performance and a great win. But Leonard Bundu, he's only a great that's a great performance. That's not a great win. You know what I mean? So, like I said, you have to establish yourself before you fought a guy for that guy to get ultimate credit for beating you. That's the only way to compare fighters that haven't fought. Well, yeah, you can compare them like that, but you can't say who's going to win the fight between Keith Thurman and Earl Spence based off of that fight. Y'all understand what you're saying? You comparing performances, so you saying that you're gonna say Earl Spence is better than Keith Thurman based off the fact that Earl Spence was able to stop Leonard Bundu, and Keith Thurman was not able to able to stop Bundu. Okay, that's your opinion. That's a thoughtful opinion, and you can have that opinion. But if Keith Thurman and Earl Spence get in the ring, the Leonard Bundu fight is not going to be a measuring stick of who's going to win that fight. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm also put that in there. But yes, I do agree with you. Keith Thurman should have stopped Leonard Bundu. I thought he was gonna stop him after he knocked him down. But man, I'm gonna wrap this up, man. It was nice talking to y'all. I'll probably go live a little bit later. Not totally, but I see what you're saying though. Yeah. Um, man, it was good chopping it up. Shoot, we chopped it up for about over an hour, man. I'm gonna get off of here, and I'm gonna come back later, man. And shoot, what y'all want to talk about later? Just give me a topic y'all want to talk about later. We can chop it up. Throw some topics out there real quick. I'll write them down, keep them in mind. And I came in late. Yeah, you came in late. We were talking about do we have any stars in boxing? I'm gonna give you a chance to talk about it. Do you think we have any stars in boxing? And who do you think is a star? Before I leave, I'm gonna let you put your opinion out there. You think Wilder's a star? Well, I don't know. You can go back and listen to the video. I already said why I think Wilder is not a star, and it has nothing to do with Wilder being able to perform in the ring because we all know that because you have great performance in the ring, that doesn't make you necessarily make you a star. You know what I'm saying? So what I'm gonna say is this: Wilder, to me, Wilder cannot walk down any city in America and people recognize him. See, only if you can walk down the street in any city in America, you are a star. Then Floyd Mayweather can walk down any city in America and people will recognize who Floyd Mayweather is. That's a star. Wilder is not a star. Wilder don't pull that type of pub. I'm listening to the video. Okay, that's the topic. These hoes ain't loyal. The topic these hoes. I don't want. No man, I don't get into all that relationship talk and all that stuff, man. Are you talking about? You talking about? You talking about? I thought you were talking about a boxing sense, but no, I don't. I don't talk about baby mamas and all that. All I can say is, man, this is what I can say about that. Just make a good choice in the woman that you want to have babies with. All I can say is this: just pick and make sure you evaluate that woman and evaluate yourself and understand what you like and what you dislike and what you're willing to put up with, and you know make a better choice of the women that you have kids with. That's all I can say about that. I don't have a whole lot to say about that. I know. You said you just kidding, but yeah. Shoot, I'll come back later and we'll chop it up some more, man. I'm out, man. Subscribe to the channel if y'all have not subscribed to the channel, man. Hit that like button, leave comments. Share this video, man. I'm trying to get more people to have conversations with. I love to have well thought out opinions. I like people. So, share this video, y'all. I'm out.